We're so excited today for this UC Links virtual office hours, and we're joined here today by Judith and Peter from the African Women and Girls Organization in Uganda. And they partner with Zahara Namanda from Africa ELI and with Amy Bentliff at UC San Diego as well. And so we're super excited to hear about the new digital hub initiative that you all are launching to empower women and girls that you work with in Uganda. So please take it away and tell us all about what you're doing. And hopefully you can share and we'll have some time for questions and input as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, um, Mara, for the introduction. Before I begin, I would kindly request Judith to make an introduction for the AWAGO, African Women and Girls Organization, and then I shall be able to take it on from there.
Yes, I thank you, Peter, and I welcome everyone. Yeah, Judith Nasal is my name. I was glad to be introduced to UC Links by Zahra, who is a partner, a friend. We work together in Uganda as African Women and Girls Organization. Our bottom line program is mental wellness, where we reach out to different populations of women and girls and ensure that their mental well-being is uplifted or improved. And we've done this since 2011 until now. So it's a pleasure that we and Peter thought of different ways of how to uplift living standards of women and girls in the country after realizing where the gaps are in their economic well-being. So this is how we crafted a program, which is a digital hub with his expertise to see that a woman or a young woman is not uplifted or is not supported only mentally, physically, but also in the economic empowerment program. So thank you, Peter. You can take it on
now. Thank you very much, Judith. Well, like you've heard, AWAGO has been around for a very long time, and different women and communities have been able to grow and really improve their standards from the different programs that we have been offering in the different communities. But then times have changed where we are realizing that there are things that have to be talked about. The conversation has to change, or maybe the conversation have to be made in a bigger perspective. That's why we introduced the digital hub. So the digital hub is to still continue to empower women and youth through digital innovation. Why I never use women and girls here is because that as we are doing this particular impact, we don't only want to look at the women and girls, because these women and girls come from a community that has also other people. If you look at the communities that we talk mostly to, they usually have men involved. And in Africa, in particular communities, a man is king. If you don't involve the man in particular things, then the woman will not be able to be a part of it. So that's why I say youth, because we have early marriages this side, and most of the men that are married to these women are young men. And so that's why we also want to incorporate the aspect of men and the young and the boys in this particular program. Madam Judith shared about African Women and Girls Organization with a mission to provide education and life skills to empower young, disadvantaged girls and women. Well, this is something that we are trying to do that is a bit more than that. Like the simple background I gave you is that things have changed, and women nowadays need essential skills that they can be able to use to be able to better their businesses. Yes, they have had the entrepreneurial skills in starting up businesses, but then aside from just starting up businesses, how are they using what we have today to be able to scale maybe their businesses, or to even better yet have a different way to offer their services to different people. So we looked at digital skilling as an avenue. So this particular digital hub project is to equip these particular women with digital skills, knowledge, and change of mindset that there is a new way, there's a better way, there's a more efficient way, and there's an effective way of how you can be able to maybe reach out to people, share your services, be able to sell your particular product. Then our main objective is to grow maybe and advocate for the success of social enterprise businesses using these particular skills, the digital knowledge, to be specific. The focus areas that we have are comprehensive, they are quite huge, but I just wanted to mention just our vision of a nation where women and girls are knowledgeable and given opportunities to live with their full potential. Because if you don't look at what is trending right now, you may fail to be able to help someone fully. So you have to keep a bit of everything so that you can be able to look at growth within these particular women. And just breaking down our particular objectives is fostering creativity and innovation. Because yes, if they have been doing ABC, if let me say 8 plus 2 is 10, but then there is still 9 plus 1, which is also 10, or maybe a 20 divided by 2, which is 10. So we just want them to understand that it is not like they see things that is the only way to do particular things, but there are also better ways, and the world is moving that way. So that's why we want to foster the creativity and innovation, and we also want to create a space for continuous learning. We have our education system in Uganda is one that assesses you based on what you remember, not based on what you understand. So if you look at the opportunities of thinking, they are limited. We want to create a space for continued learning where these women, ladies, or youth can be able to come and share ideas and speak with industry professions so that they can have a different perspective about life or different knowledges. Thought processes of people are different. If someone can be able to tap into someone's other thought process, then they can be able maybe to either see a light, or they can be able to be affected in a particular way. Then I will look at supporting startups and entrepreneurs. We have very many women that are bringing up things, so their support could be either in product acceleration in case they have already been functioning. For startups, could be like our managerial in terms of, yes, you've started up something and you have your socials up. Which digital methods are you using? How can we transition this woman from using the traditional means to digital means? Then we also have offer hands-on training programs. Most of these women are not familiar with the gadgets like phones. Yeah, you find a lady and she will tell you that as long as my phone can make calls and receive messages, that's all I need from it. And yet the phone can be able to do a lot more other things. So that's why we want to offer hands-on training. Then we want to build a digital community. I mean, why would you learn the digital skills minus being part of a bigger community? So we also want to build a big a digital community, and also want to provide a platform for questions, issues, and feedback. These women would want to share with different people from different communities. And what easier way shall we be able to do that if at all we don't embrace the digital world? So our program structure is one that begins with onboarding, getting these women introduced to the system, to the program, to the facility, getting them around and letting them be part of this particular product. And after onboarding with these women, the KYC process, knowing your client, registering their names, getting them their emails, phone numbers, adding them to a particular CRM system that we want to use so that they can get periodical emails in case we have communication to share. That will be the first process of the program. Then we would want to share an experience, because we don't only want it to be a product or a program they be part of. We also want them to be a part of an experience. That's why we introduced the inauguration. The inauguration is basically a formal ceremony where, as we are signing them up, yeah, we give them maybe a certificate of being successfully joining this particular thing, so that as you give them that certificate, it creates a sense of urge for them to say, okay, now I've gotten the certificate. I think I have to work extremely harder so that I can be able to complete this program. And at the end of this program, I can get something bigger. So that's why we introduced the inauguration to lift up their spirits. If you look at the local community of Uganda, these guys are wowed by the smallest things possible. So if you get these women and give them a certificate, they'll feel part of you. They even feel more together with you as a program, instead of them just looking at you as trainers, but they look at you as a family. And that's what we want an experience. Thirdly, and the second phase will look at hands-on training and skilling, where I mentioned before we give them the digital literacy skills, we want them to have practical sessions with their phones, maybe laptops, tabs, and depending on which community, because there are some communities that don't need tabs, there are some communities that don't need laptops and computers, but they just need an extra knowledge about how to better use their mobile phones, because most of the people right now have smartphones, and they can be able to use WhatsApp and the other tools that we can teach them to use using their phone to either help them as individuals or help them grow their businesses. And then we look at career guidance. With career guidance, we assist participants in making informed occupational choices. You see, after the training, some may opt to take the digital journey as their answer to the ongoing challenges they face in their communities. Others may just want maybe a career change. We look at career guidance as a major issue, because as they go into that, some get confused and others get a bit lost in the way. So that's why we are partnering with different organizations to offer us trainers, mostly women in tech and other communities, so that they can be able to have an experience with these women. And then we shall have mentorship after that, pair each participant with a mentor to guide them, direct them their direction, so that they don't feel that they are left alone. Then we have evaluation. There is nothing you can do without still evaluating whatever you're doing. So it gives us a platform to understand that what we are doing is actually working or not working. I look at this as an entirely iterative process. So we go back to the drawing board, assess, then come back stronger in case we have failed somewhere. So that's why even after every particular program, the assessment forms that we offer these particular women and the people that are involved in the program, so that we know where to be able to improve our skills and maybe change up in the approach or the methods that we're using. I may be wanting to use area that is focusing on co-creating solutions, maybe using design thinking, but then you find that maybe in the community that you're working with, their problems and are different, and your solution cannot work there, or your approach. So you just have to use a different approach. We have very many areas of focus. Workstation for brainstorming, like I mentioned, part of that, offering support digitization of women and youth entrepreneurs. I'll just go in briefly to talk about each. So for workstation, it is just to incubate, evaluate and refine ideas collaboratively. Like I said, a space where they can be able to think, create ideas from. There's a very big problem here, where we are a very entrepreneurial country. We have very many entrepreneurs starting up businesses, but most of these businesses don't grow. We don't have second generational businesses in Uganda. There are quite a few there. You can count 1, 2, 3, and that's basically it. And with that, I feel that most of the people are really pushing for start a business, but the individuals as themselves, they are not equipped with the right entrepreneurial skills so that they can be able to make particular judgments for their businesses. So this concentration of this particular program, yes, however much we are offering the digital skilling, we are looking at individual uplifting at individual level, where a person gets to learn entrepreneurial skills so that they can either know if at all the business they're doing is rightfully theirs, or they can be able to understand that I, as Peter, with these skills, I can be able to offer my services as Peter instead of me opening up a company that offers digital skills for any other company. So that's what we want to be able to see coming out. And then the offering support, like I said, assist participants in understanding the different target market, customer needs, competitions, depending on what that particular group needs. So, like I said, being an iterative process, you may find that one doesn't work for the other, but that's why we have a vast playing ground where we have different focus areas to support these particular people. And digitalization of women and youth entrepreneurs, transitions of entrepreneurs to digital businesses for those that we are working offline to show them a better way. Training and skilling, equipping women youth with new approaches to effective management. I never wanted to say business management because the whole idea is maybe even bigger than a business. So effective management could be as an individual, maybe as a community. Different people have different skills. So I don't want to limit ourselves. I just want to keep it as broad as possible. Then we have business mentorships. We, like I said, we are signing different partnerships with different organizations that will offer trainers, people, industry professionals that can come and offer the different services to these women. We have been in talks with Stanbic, which is a Stanbic Bank, but as Stanbic Bank, it has different arms, and one of their program is the Stanbic Innovator Program. That does scaling, business model generation, investor readiness for different startups. So if we just want to tap into their multitude list of the different trainers and professionals they usually invite for their trainings, if we can be able to tap on that, and then just on the other side give them access to our big community, then that will be a win-win for us. And yeah, so and then the future of digitization, this is just things that we can keep on talking about with the different women that come, for them to understand that this is something that is not only ending today, but also continuing to the future, because AI is getting better and better in the day. It is there to facilitate our particular day-to-day services. So if someone can be able to understand the digital industry, then they can be able at some point to be able to easily use artificial intelligence to their needs. Accessing development opportunities digitally, yeah, like I said, some women will maybe figure out that their journey is not in starting up a physical business, but continuing with a digital career. Either maybe someone could become a blogger or something, and they actually get a career there, or maybe understanding that my product would move physically, but I'll just create a digital shop for it and operate strictly online. So we just want to create that avenue. Leadership and team building. This is also another area that we were focusing on, as like I said, very iterative process. So depending on the different communities we go to, we shall be offering what benefits them. So the benefits that we're looking at is exposure and visibility for these particular women. Like we wanted to create a community. With this community, these women can be exposed to different audiences, different people, can be able to be seen via the visibility. Networking community opportunities. So we want to create meetups. Could be like every quarter, we do a meetup with the different women in power and the women that have been part of the program. And they can be able to either share their products or maybe to create pop-up shops that they can be able to make a showcase of their products and things. We look at market feedback. This will be entirely done on our side, and we can be able to give them what the market is saying. So it is basically our job as our goal to keep our ear on the ground, to know what exactly is happening, and to keep on giving them information. Lead generation. Lead generation, yes, as these people keep on meeting and being part of different communities, they can be able to get leads on people they can be able to sell to eventually. Idea testing, yes, this hub is also, we are looking at creating a space that these women can be able to benefit from idea testing. Like I said, once they come, they share ideas, they meet people, they they go around making different discussions, so that something bigger can be able to be, let me say, gotten. Then learning opportunities, learning never ends. Whenever you interact with people, the more you grow. Market intelligence is still, that will be us, as we know what is coming, the trends and things. Then the foundations in digital principles, still that will be us in the digital literacy that we shall be doing. The implementation plan, in first phase, most of the trainings will be happening at the AWAGO offices, but eventually we shall be scaling to communities. We want to start small, something that we can be able to manage as we grow bigger with every phase. So the first phase will have 2 sessions per day, depending on the sign up of the different women. Then we shall look at 20 people per session, since also the space is not that big. We just want to have a number that can easily be accommodated. Location, like I said, our offices, then facilitators, experts from partner organizations. So we want to work with different organizations so that we can be able to share human resource needs. Eligibility, open to women and youth. Like I said, we never wanted to add girls because it will limit us. We also want to tap into the other people. Then anybody who is passionate about entrepreneurship and digital skills, and there will not be any prior experiences. And that's basically it. Thank you very much. That is the digital hub and what we look at getting and doing.
Thank you so much for sharing. I have so many questions, but I imagine other people do too. I guess before we open up to questions, just generally, are there certain challenges or questions that you have that we might be able to help inform or address through our comments?
Yeah, sure. Challenges is that because I've seen you've had different programs of how you interacted with different communities. Maybe you can share with us how you usually make your approaches to reach out to these different communities, and how do you get everybody to participate? Because that is at some point a challenge our side. Yes, you may invite people and then they come, then follow up. Everybody decides to just go silent. So how are you able to get these people still actively involved in whatever you're doing, and still make the numbers keep on growing every now and then?
That's a great question, and you have great people here to answer. And I would say that's probably, one of the biggest questions that people have over time. So it's not surprising that that's one of your questions and challenges as well. Maybe could you share a little bit about what your initial strategies are for reaching out to and engaging the different women and youth in your program?
We are looking at university students, finalists. Okay, under university students, we're looking at finalists and recently graduated. Then we have the professional part, where we have those that are already working, and those that are just looking for a transition in life. And then lastly, we also look at communities. One, young mothers, and then the other is the young girls. That something that describes all this particular thing is just girls who are looking out for knowledge and to grow. So with these different areas, we have different ways of reaching out. For the people that are in school or just from school, we are looking at getting numbers. Okay, we have started getting the numbers of the different faculty leads, because these faculty leaders usually have contacts and of the guys that were in school, and also working with institutions so that we can be able to tap into their student lists. With the institutions, as we do the trainings there, we would also want the school to be a part of this, because it is something that helps digitally. Most of the computer lab stations in universities, all these institutions are not fully equipped, and yeah, they may be fully equipped, some not, but then the technical knowledge of how to use what is there to do something more. Now, that's what most of them are lacking in. Then for those that are already out of school and already doing things, We shall work with community leaders so that we can be able to tap into particular communities, and then other marketing approaches where we can be able to use different ways of communicating. Like there's usually a guy in Africa, I've forgotten the name, someone who moves around with, is it called a mask? I've forgotten. It's like a speaker, and they keep on saying on this day like this, we shall have a team from this side to come and teach us about this. So be a part of this. Can you maybe organize this and this so that you can be a part of this? And then also working with LC chairmen, so that as they meet their communities, the local council chairman, as they meet with their communities, they can be able to tell them and say, okay, guys, we have this and this, we can be able to use this and this. So that's part of the things that we are looking at on how to reach out to these people.
You have a lot of strategies already that you're already undertaking. Zahara.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Peter, for the presentation. I loved, your strategies, but I also have just a little bit of I don't know, a supplement or maybe something that would be relevant to this idea. Because I'm thinking, to me, once this is happening, I'm thinking it is a very broad idea that requires innovation, requires participation in terms of, on ground or physical participation, but also the digital kind of like literacy. And I'm just wanting to understand the connection between how is the digital platform supporting, how will it support the recruited participants? That's number one, because I see for the process, it kind of like starts from recruitment, and then it gets into training, and then it ends with mentorship, because I know how we have a big challenge in terms of accessing, digital devices, especially for communities where we work with, and how will that be solved, just to ensure that it is efficient. And also, secondly, I'm just thinking that it would be a great idea for you to integrate, your target groups, in terms of what you would like to see such kind of people come with. For example, I have not seen clear eligibility for participation, because I know there is massive need for such kind of a program. And once you tap into everyone, I mean, you will have 1,000 and 1,000 of people come apply for this. So is there any eligibility or criteria that somebody has to really apply for such kind of, a program? And I think with that, you would actually know that, okay, this is what we need with such kind of a group. Maybe if it is a university group, what do we need from them? If it is a transitioning group, maybe from secondary to university, and if maybe they're dropouts or students who may be actually interested in participating in hands-on skills, what would be the eligibility? So I'm thinking it's kind of like very broad, and just thinking that having kind of like specific eligibility criteria will be helpful in terms of understanding this.
Thank you very much, Zara, for that. Well, let me begin with one of the digital devices in limited areas, on how you said there's a very big challenge in having these devices used in such areas. When I was talking about the focus areas, I mentioned that there are some communities that you may find that their problem is not actually having a laptop or having a pad, and it is just as simple as their normal mobile phones. Some of them think it is about just making calls and receiving messages, and yet there is a lot more they can be able to do. Even phones that don't have WhatsApp can be able to be a very big advantage to them. And as we're looking to roll out this entire plan, we are not going to go out at once in communities. We are going to first work with people that we can easily access, either at AWAGO first in the first phase, then we can be able to roll out to institutions like schools, then we can assess how we can be able to go out in communities. As we are having these small, manageable interactions, we are also looking out for more sponsors or partners, so that as we grow, we can be able to maybe buy more tools like smartphones or even laptops and things like that, so that by the time we shall go to the community level, we can be able to have a bit of enough. Yeah, like the different phases we shall not interact with. Even if we go to in a community, we can decide to say that in this community we shall have about 6 interactions in that community, so that each interaction has a specific number depending on what we have as resources. Because it won't do us well if at all we go out to a community and look out to a very big number and get the resources and the elements that we have to do the trainings and everything is not enough. So we are looking at it being a phase of growth. So that's why we would want to begin with AWAGO, inviting people there. After that, we can look at institutions, and then we look at bigger communities as we are growing in capacity to have more items that we can be able to share with bigger communities. And also, with NEMISE limited to reach areas like maybe upcountry areas, we can be able to get partners that are there and we create hubs. And some of these areas already have hubs. So it will be either a call that we reach, a call that we start with both the partners there and us, so that we can look out for people to help us in financing of accessing or maybe acquiring these items that we can put in those local hub areas. And by the time we are going there, we already have where to begin from. For the question about eligibility, yes, and it is one issue that has been brought up a couple of times. So for the beginning, there is a form that is shared, and in the form we shall also work with different. That's why we are working with different organizations. The first info session that we had about the digital hub, a lady mentioned that yes, it's not that everybody that you say that women and girls and everybody is going to be a part of this. You would have a criteria. So that's why, like, oh, then that explains why we actually invited you for the info session, because we want to get insights from people like you so that we can be able to build a better product. And we are looking out for engagements like those so that we can have a better way to approach these particular people. Yes, we are definitely considering to pilot this project, but then we would want to begin from something, create concrete approaches, but based on the data we have, than just doing something in terms of how we think about it. That's why we're looking to begin small, and then we keep on growing and expanding to bigger communities. But then, like you said, there are different things that we'll have to look out for as we are onboarding these particular people. And yes, we are looking at creating a document that has different checklists of things that we shall look out from these different women and girls. Thank you very much.
And I saw Amy, you had a question in the chat also.
It's nice to meet you, Peter. I work with African
Yes, so much.
ELI. I know that in a lot of international programs, having participant incentives really works for women and children. One of my doctoral students just did a dissertation project on different types of incentive plans for young women to stay a part of the learning community. Have you thought about incentivizing participation in some kind of way where participants, are kind of paid to stay within the program so that it prevents dropping out of programs? So I was just kind of wondering about that in terms of building the program, if there's ideas for ways to incentivize participation so that the women actually stay throughout the course. So I was just wondering about that.
Oh yes, there is that. It's just that sadly we had not added it to the presentation. We wanted to keep the presentations short
Yeah,
because
yeah, no,
everybody
this is just a
wants
question. It's a
Yeah, but
curiosity.
yes, which is fine, and it's actually true. You see, most of the ladies will ask you, "You want me to leave my store where I'm going to make money to come for a training?
Right,
What am
right.
I going to get?" Yes,
Yeah.
and yeah, from some projects that we have done in the past is we look out to have partnership with particular sponsors who have, let me say, like food and what. Because we could, let me say, for an example, for every woman that participates in this particular program, will be able to get maybe 5 kilograms of posho and about 2 kilograms of beans.
Yeah.
So her leaving her shop to come to the training, at least she will be guaranteed she will have a kilo of posho or 5 kilograms of posho and 2 kilograms of beans. So without working, she knows she has won. But then if you look at like the cognitive process of learning, you have to have been in a place so that you can remember, and being able to remember, you can be able to analyze. So yes, having those incentives gives them helps them be part of the trainings, and them being part of the training is what we want, because however much they don't get 100% of what we are giving them being part just gives us attraction to know that, okay, there's people that have come, they have just not taken this up, but I know they have learned. So yes, those considerations are being made. And as we grow bigger, we are looking at having even better incentives. Like there's a conversation we had with one of the stakeholders that we talking to, and you're like, but even in future, you can be able to offer an opportunity for children. So as their parents are part of this, then their children could maybe be able to get maybe a term or even a year of paid school fees for their kids. So they know that they are not only in for just getting knowledge, but also something that they will get out for their family.
I think that's really important. And for our research in Africa ELI, we have given household goods, flour and sugar and things like that. So I think having that incentive to keep the women involved will be really important and meaningful to them.
Thank you very much. Was there another question you asked?
No, I think one of the other questions or something to think about is the way that the digital literacy will be taught. There are a lot of different kinds of curriculum for digital literacy. Do you imagine that it'll be a place where people kind of learn things together in a small environment, or do you imagine that it will be kind of a prepared curriculum that goes step by step? So just thinking about the variety of ways that we can teach digital literacy, what are you thinking in terms of that teaching of the digital literacy?
So if you find communities like those that are just from, let me say, university and that stuff, their knowledge is a bit of, let me say, carved in a particular framework. So for those, their training is going to be one that is already pre-done, so that we just give it to them in steps by steps. But for communities, it can't be that way, because these women are facing different challenges, and
Right.
you're offering a solution to a multitude of things that they are facing. So this training have to be a bit of freelance. However much we shall have guidelines of saying these are our talking points or study areas, but it will be more of a freestyle, because you are trying to, keep them active, and also keep on telling them and solving what they are facing, instead of you impacting or giving them what you feel they need. And yet, so that's why before community execution, we shall have needs and assessment, and then we can be able to understand what their area of challenges are, and then we can be able to build up from that. So by the time it shall come for the training, we have already known exactly what areas they would want assistance in. So we just have to incorporate all these training areas into what they need and give it to them that way.
That's a great idea.
So it will be an iterative process, very iterative. You may find that instead of beginning with the last part you had, you are going to begin with the first part, because you
Right.
want to first execute what is really pressing for them.
Yeah, and
I
I
mean,
think
that's the entire idea about co-creating. You have to co-create with them solutions,
right.
but just because you're offering digital skilling, yes.
Yeah, I think that's very important. And I think the needs assessment is always really valuable. Finding out, what are the needs that the women are facing. So that's great.
That also made me think of something. One of my questions was like who will be doing all of these trainings, right? Is there a way to institutionalize this, like so that it's like you mentioned, working with university faculty potentially, or various programs at the university. And could there be a way for those students to also be involved in providing some of the training? And then could it also be that the participants could then evolve to become trainers in the program as well, right? So you're kind of training the trainers and growing your own, as we've seen, like in San Diego, for example, right, where Saira Martinez, was a participant, and had a child participating in these programs, and now she's helping, to coordinate many of the programs herself and has gone back to school. And so just seeing the power of participation and how the participation can change and transform over time if there's opportunities for that.
That one will be based on upon the experience we've had. I don't know if you've heard about Techstars. It is I think it's an organization or company that is based in the United States, but it has different representatives in different countries. Okay. So Techstars, what Techstars does, it is I know you shall maybe read about it because what it does is a bit broad, but then it has industry professionals that are different that are from different communities. So what they do is create trainings or a program for different underrepresented people to be a part of it. And the entire idea is a person who comes in and gets an experience of the training is a person who is maybe requested to do another training. So just to show what they have learned and maybe share what they have learned with the other people. So that's how they track how effective they have done whatever they have done. So if at all the people you have told have not been able to teach others, then you know that you're failing at what you're doing. So, and I believe each one teach one should be our main area of concentration as we also do this. And thank you very much for mentioning that, because we're looking at the young girls who are in for internship processes or periods could be able to be a part of these trainings. So, and one, they get the experience because they don't only work in terms of training, but they also work in terms of management, M&E, or we can say monitoring, evaluation, and documentation. I think it is monitoring, documentation, and evaluation. So they are getting skills there, they're getting logistic skills. So because someone can be able to coordinate an entire training that is happening in a community, so they go do their needs assessment, they are getting logistic skills, they can be able to do M&E. So by the time they go back to university or they graduate after this entire process with us, they have something to show for it. And we can give maybe a certificate at the end of this that this one was a particular leader and they did and this, and they can be able to get either a recommendation letter from AWAGO or maybe that specific program. We could maybe call them chapters. I mean, the options of how we can be able to get the people to also do the training are many. And yes, it is something we have thought of, but the problem was how do we incorporate it? Because there are very many ways, and we are also limited as our goal. Just like I like such presentations because they give us different ways of how we can be able to do things, and also to remind us and even to help us know where we are missing and how we can be able to make it better. So yeah, I really would like to have that involved, and like our goal itself, it will be something that is really good to see how we grow these particular programs together by having our own trainees, the same people to train others. So, but we shall not force it to the people. So it could be, say, you could want to become a member so that in the next training, you are a trainer and you will be facilitated, you'll be paid, you will get this and this. It's either a per diem or something like that.
Thank you. You all have clearly been thinking about this for a long time and really I love seeing like how you're starting locally, right, with the AWAGO participants that you already have, and then you have your strategies that you're thinking of, to help grow this down the line and implement, and that you're using kind of this design thinking approach, right, where you're always working towards this continuous quality improvement and looking at the evaluation to inform your implementation. And I know it's going to be a huge success. I mean, it
Have
sounds
one.
like it already is. Diana, did you have anything that you wanted to offer? I know you said you didn't have any questions or anything, but
I just think it's amazing. Thank you for providing such a space to, it's just inspiring, and it just is a nice reminder of the kinds of knowledge building we want to do in the world. And so I know we'll continue to talk about this more as you grow, and I just look forward to learning from you in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mara, very much. I think it was awesome just to listen in and get the bigger picture of the digital hub, because I haven't been in the, better know of it, but this helped me understand about it, and also.
well, thank you. Any last thoughts before we sign off?
Maybe it is just a call out to let you know that I shall be disturbing most of you because you already have something big that is going on that side, and being able to share thoughts with the different people. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I like sharing things. I'm a creative. Judith knows that. Sometimes I do photography and videography.
Oh, great.
And yes. And then, so as if at all I'm trying to write something and I'm stuck, I just tend to stand and move and look and maybe shoot and record and talk to people. So yes,
Nice.
sometimes I may send an email or two to ask a bit of this and that. But that's me trying to ask for
Perfect.
assistance and help.
Well, we'll look forward to getting those kinds of requests for assistance. I can't wait to see some of the other creative ways that you're engaging with this work also.
Oh, I'll be so happy to share.
Great. Thanks to
Thank
you.
you very much, Mara and
Thank
John,
you.
for this. Yeah.
Great seeing
Bye.
you. Thank you. Bye.